So hey guys, how are y'all? This is Fiction Star. So I will begin with the new series. The series name is What If Naruto Fall in Love with Kaguya. So this is the first part of the series. So do not wasting any more time. Let's begin to the video.
It was so peculiar, combating in a one-of-a-kind dimension. However, Sasuke could not consider that. He paid no attention to the greenish sky or pink sand. He overlooked the strangeness of the complicated pudding of this struggle. His handiest awareness became the rabbit goddess herself, seeking to figure out a plan to prevent her, and the being that became Black Zetsu. Kaguya Otsutsuki, the mom of chakra, became an unbeatable foe. Their possibilities of prevailing were narrow, however Sasuke and Naruto knew that every one they needed to do was seal her. Nicely, it wasn't as simple as that, but they had a danger to without a doubt win. Obito had unluckily died, however he covered his former teammate, and Kakashi fought back with a blue Susanoo, the usage of his double Sharingan. They were capable of taming the unintentional transformation that came over Kaguya, that fierce rabbit model of the Ten Tails. Regardless of this, whilst she gotten smaller, returned to unique size, she nevertheless remained robust and repelled their efforts to get near her. Whilst she attacked Sasuke along with her 80 gods vacuum assault, he felt as though his frame was shaking from the more than one chakra fists colliding into his body. He tried to use the Susanoo to shield him, but the consistent attack of the fists destroyed it. If he turned into now not on the receiving quit, he would have been impressed. So, he became dispatched, flying to the ground. He felt the wind knock out of him, and he could not pass for the moment. Sasuke-kun! Sakura exclaimed, jumping out of Kakashi's Susanoo and landing at the floor. She ran towards Sasuke, getting there as rapid she may wanted to heal him. Kaguya became keeping off Naruto, however she noticed the Uchiha in his weakened state. She watched because the Pinkette ran to him. With an easy stretch of her arm, she unleashed her all-killing Ash Bones approach in the direction of the two. Sasuke could not flow. His frame became sore from the attacks he had by some means survived from. He should hear Sakura coming closer to him, but looked on in agitated difficulty at the projectiles being thrown in his course. Sakura pumped chakra into her toes, hoping to get there to save him. While she changed into close sufficient, she dove to push them both out of the road of hearth. They skidded throughout the ground for a second, their bodies rolling over the opposite. The kunoichi landed on top of him, but she moved away slowly, allowing him to sit up. "Are you okay, Sasuke-kun?" she asked, her voice simply above a whisper. "I am pleasant," he snapped, annoyed at the pain he became feeling. Why did she want to be so aggressive in saving him? And to be stored by means of Sakura, of all people? Granted, that turned into her activity. As a medical ninja, however, he became left feeling embarrassed at the occasion. "I am satisfied." She sounded weird, so he grew to become to her and raised an eyebrow at her smiling face. He felt as if there were too many implications within the few words she had just stated. Her head changed into near his shoulder, as though she become wondering if she ought to place her head on it like earlier. Then, some other element that irritated him, approximately her, turned into her constant want for comfort. Then, he observed it. The bone lodged into her side. Instinctively, he placed his fingers round her and looked fearfully into her eyes. She changed into nonetheless smiling when her body disintegrated into ash. It fell through his hands and he watched in shocked silence as his teammate died. The ash became scattered on the floor, but there was no wind to transport it. He would not see it glide within the air. Sakura was now a pile on the ground, as though she was in no way someone. She became gone. Sasuke finally moved his sight far from the remnants of his teammate's body and looked at Kaguya with cold eyes. The goddess regarded him with curiosity, and Naruto and Kakashi had descended to the ground, shocked that the Pinkette became no more. The Uchiha glared on the Otsutsuki. She had killed Sakura, the most effective lady who claimed to love him. She had killed her without a 2D concept. He readied his Chidori. He became an avenger, and he had just brought every other name to his list. The combat seemed to have no cease. Naruto had caught his second wind and become fighting Kaguya with all his might, tears streaming down his face. Now, even if they did win, Group 7 become no extra. It made Naruto irritated and unhappy, much like he were whilst Jiraiya died. This wasn't how it became speculated to be. They needed to win, and then Sakura and Sasuke might get married and they'd all return to Konoha. Now, that changed into not anything but a trifling dream, and phantasm that would simplest play in the infinite Tsukiyomi. Kakashi also fought, but distress became glaring in his face at dropping his student. He hadn't covered Rin or Obito, and now he had failed one in all his students. He should now apprehend the urge his father had. He never related more. Sasuke become mad. He wanted to kill Kaguya, now not simply seal her. He needed she would bleed. Her red liquid need to splatter onto the floor, and the life must drain out of her eyes ever so slowly. In spite of this, he would nevertheless no longer be satisfied. They have been dropping. One time, they'd gotten near enough to seal her, and he or she flew upwards, averting their palms. She would not provide them any other threat. So, she transformed into the 10 tails and attacked them in her robust shape. Kakashi's double Sharingan had disappeared and he stood in Naruto's Kurama form, not supporting out as a good deal because the rivals. But what should he do? This fight become out of his league. Eventually, they couldn't hold preventing however they attempted. Sasuke watched, sprawled out at the ground, as Kakashi tried to face. But an all-ash killing bone pierced into his again, and he faded to ash, similar to Sakura did. Naruto changed into next. Kaguya fashioned a reality-seeker orb and created a brand new dimension. The blonde changed into forced into the portal, and now there has been no hope in him returning. Obito and Sakura were useless, providing no gate or chakra supply. Sasuke knew he would lose. So there has been no factor in trying. He could not avenge Sakura, or Kakashi. Kaguya had won and the sector turned into doomed. The greedy complain may want to take all of the chakra within the world, and Hagoromo nor Hamura were right here to stop her. All at once, he noticed a vivid mild and he turned into taken lower back to the battlefield of the battle. He became status subsequent to the divine tree, human beings striking from the branches, dwelling a lie they want was real. He hoped they were enjoying their wildest dreams, they would in no way be allowed out of them. Beside him stood Naruto. The boy had powered down from his QB chakra mode and seemed extraordinarily confused. Scratching his head, he puzzled how he got here out of the exchange size. In front of the two of them, the sage of the 6 paths changed into floating. This isn't how the story changed into alleged to go, he stated. Black Setsa said it changed into? Sasuke spoke back, ignoring Naruto's quizzical appearance. If what the previous Akatsuki member said was proper, he had orchestrated all of the activities that led as much as his factor, in order that he ought to revive the violent goddess. No! The blonde exclaimed. We will write our own history. Shut up, Naruto! Sasuke snapped, eyeing the boy with surprising anger. Sakura and Kakashi are both lifeless, so we must stop Kaguya. The Jinchuriki interrupted. Then she might not be capable of hurt all and sundry else. Sakura and Kakashi have been each speculated to be alive, so they might aid you two inside the combat with my mom. Hagoromo interjected before the two ought to hold arguing. We've misplaced. Sasuke sighed and seemed up into the sky. A lot for my perfect global, he concept. This is it then? Naruto whispered, no longer wanting to give up. It isn't always. The author of Nishu stated. The men looked at him unusually. You two can rewrite records. What do you suggest? Naruto requested, even though Sasuke seemed to have his suspicions about what the antique man become alluding to. Time tour. The sage discovered, confirming Sasuke's suspicions. I'm able to send the two of you back in time to save you the revival of my mother. You could do this? The blonde changed into excited. They may forestall all of this from occurring. I will not, the Uchiha stated, narrowing his eyes. He did no longer need to relive this shitty lifestyles. He just desired the whole thing to stop. Team, we have to, Naruto exploded, barely stunning his teammate. Prevent being this sort of stubborn bastard, and allow Sko store the arena. You are humanity's last hope. Hagoromo introduced. You may repair any errors. Sakura and Kakashi will now not die and the complete warfare may be averted. Kurama's host felt the need to beg Sasuke to agree. They could right such a lot of wrongs, save you so many deaths, and team won't depart. He concept. Sasuke changed into hesitant. Who is to say this would not give up with their failure? What if there have been such a lot of repercussions that everything became on its head? However, the concept of seeing his circle of relatives once more changed into appealing. He could see his dad and mom, Itachi, and the Uchiha massacre would by no means manifest. The simplest female who claimed she cherished him and meant it would still be alive. I will do it, he finally agreed, causing Naruto to let out an effective cheer. Good. Your Indra and Azura marks will fade once you tear through time. That means that your Rinnegan, he looked at Sasuke, and your six-paths Senjutsu, he looked at Naruto, will disappear. Kurama, you'll additionally be going in conjunction with them. Because it'd have to be, the beast spoke back from inside Naruto. So, I'll get to use Kyuubi chakra mode from a young age? The Jinchuriki asked, stars in his eyes. The sage frowned. Yes, the two of you will preserve your strategies, but you shall not use the ones that younger academy students should not know. No person can understand that you traveled through time. It's going to have disastrous outcomes. Sasuke nodded because it made feel. Obviously, Naruto complained, inflicting the Uchiha to grunt, irritated. He changed into crying about the usage of a bijou, but it changed into hard for Sasuke also. He might need to conceal his Mangekyo Sharingan, and even his absolutely matured Sharingan for some time. This will be hard. Furthermore, he must act on his plan for a perfect world behind Naruto's again. If the Doge found out, a tremendous conflict might occur and halt Sasuke's plans. It's time, Hagoromo stated, inflicting the men to straighten up. The destiny is for your palms. Sasuke assumed a large beacon of light could burst out from his frame and he would be sent hurtling back in time, like a meteorite crashing right down to earth. As an alternative, he blinked and he was in a bed. His formative years mattress, to be actual. His body was smaller, lots smaller, and he slightly took up any space. Whilst he sat up and hopped out of bed, he felt as though he became falling off a cliff. It's how much smaller he had emerged as searching in the reflect. He almost gagged at the sight of himself. He appeared like an harmless, clueless, little boy. A boy with the strength to kill all of us on this village. Humans would anticipate him to know not anything about the horrors ninja faced. But he now knew them greater than absolutely everyone. He activated his Sharingan. 3 tomos span in his eyes, displaying his absolutely evolved Sharingan changed into unstable. A genjutsu would not cover it, so he could ought to discern out an excuse. He then activated his eternal Majikyo Sharingan. The 3 intersecting ellipses in his eyes turned into a special tail. He could not display a single individual this side of his Kekkei Genkai. Sasuke did not precisely pass over his Rinnegan. The idea of getting one pleased him. However, how would he explain it to his family? His family? They had been all alive. The Uchiha massacre never took place. His breath hitched in his throat on the thought of this. They were all alive, and he ought to maintain it that manner. He did not precisely understand how to engage with them. Sasuke, as a 5-year vintage, he guessed, changed into a whiny, brother-obsessed ninja in training who changed into deathly fearful of his father, though he failed to care to confess. Despite this irrational worry, he felt the urge to show himself to his father. As for his mom, Mikoto showered him with unconditional love and affection. Itachi became a whole other tale. He knew the truth about what had happened, what will appear, with the Uchiha bloodbath. So, his first goals would be the elders so that they would not recommend the idea. Moreover, he had to figure out a way to forestall the coup d'etat his clan turned into preparing. Otuto. His bedroom door opened and he froze immediately. His back changed into the door so he could not see his brother. Hesitantly, he rotated his body and took inside the web page of this younger version of his older brother. His brother who cherished him and became him into an avenger. It changed into unusual, looking at him wearing ordinary clothes in preference to an Akatsuki cloak or a red cloak worn with the aid of reanimated ninja. Itachi. He unintentionally breathed. Stated man narrowed his eyes at his brother. Sasuke felt the urge to punch himself. 5 minutes inside the beyond and he already became screwing things up. Aniki! He effectively exclaimed, refusing to blush at his actions. What's it? He requested, seeking to put on an innocent facade. Ka-san has breakfast equipped. The older of the two informed the opposite, hints of a frown etched onto his face. After a quick pause, he left the room. Sasuke exhaled. He had to get used to them. This changed into purported to be every day. He felt harassed already about saving the world. he failed to want to add family troubles on top of that. So, he just had to act ordinary with them. That appeared clean sufficient. Then, he could meet up with Naruto at the academy, and they would discuss their plans for the destiny. Naruto awakened in his condominium, and it took him a moment to method what became occurring. Whilst the whole lot clicked, he jumped up in the air with satisfaction. "I'll fix everything, consider it!" he shouted, searching round his kitchen for meals. When the on-the-spot ramen pots came into his line of sight, he nearly cried. He hadn't had ramen in see you later. It simply appeared like a crime to no longer consume them proper then. After ingesting, he determined to head discover the Konoha that existed whilst he changed into more youthful. While it appeared fairly the equal excluding everything that had modified after Pain's invasion, he became excited despite the fact that I ought to go discover team, he thought, seeking to recollect where in the Uchiha district become unexpectedly, he felt a chakra signature nearby. But he turned into status on the street, all alone. It really is while he remembered that the third Hokage continually had an Anbu watching him, simply in case Kurama determined to kill everybody in Konoha. "I will pay attention you?" the beast growled. Naruto came face to face together with his buddy and beamed at him. "Kurama, study us. We're younger and we are pals." He gave the fox a thumbs up. "Who stated we have been friends?" He turned into quick to defend himself. "I simplest tolerate you." The blonde decided to go away the QB alone, and went and looked for the Uchiha district. He was very careful, approximately doing anything suspicious on the grounds that an Anbu became following him. This supposed that he might have to talk to the old man and get him to stop having any individual observe him. If he and Sasuke have been now not allowed to inform everyone approximately time to her, then a ninja following him, ordinary, was bound to be at trouble. "Excuse me?" Naruto asked the female as soon as he were given near the purchasing district. She gave him a look of disgust before stalking off, muttering curses below her breath. The blonde frowned, having forgotten about this little problem. This supposed that no person might assist him, and that made matters a lot harder. "Idiot," Kurama commented. "Hello." Naruto become offended. "Are not you presupposed to be at the academy? And won't the Uchiha brat be there?" After a quick pause, the host smiled. "Kurama, you are a genius," he advised the beast. "I recognize." With a sudden pass in his step, Naruto made his manner to the academy. Mikoto Uchiha became regarded with the aid of many, and now not just due to the fact she was married to the pinnacle of the Uchiha extended family. She changed into a kind, mild soul who checked out the great in human beings. The most essential people in her existence have been her husband and her sons. She constantly wanted to recognize in the event that they had been alright, which is why she becomes so worried about her youngest son. Sasuke changed into performing bizarre. He sat quietly on the desk, instead of asking Itachi a mess of questions on schooling and missions. Whilst she gave him his food, he mumbled a thank you and started ingesting with his head down. She and her eldest exchanged unusual seems at his behavior. Whilst he finished eating, he were given up and left without pronouncing a word. Mikoto frowned. Usually, he waited for Fugaku to sit with them before leaving. If his father become busy, he might pout and anticipate Itachi to finish, so he should pressure his brother to take him to the academy. Something become in reality occurring. Maybe he is being bullied. The Uchiha matriarch said to her son. Itachi frowned. Who would bully Sasuke? Most of the girls like him, and the men are too scared to attempt anything. Mikoto sighed. She would have to talk to him and discern out what become incorrect. Naruto left out the dirty looks he acquired as he skipped to the academy. He failed to care about them. Someday they would see him as a hero. Plus, he had more urgent issues than his reputation. The one man or woman he desired to look greater than something turned into Sakura. She was alive, he was positive of it. However, he needed to see it with his personal eyes. At this point, he believed she hated him due to her crush on Sasuke, something he did not want to appear once more. Nonetheless, just seeing her become enough for him. The blonde walked into their classroom and appeared to look if there was everyone he knew. Fair sufficient, Shikamaru changed into slumbering in the back of the room, subsequent to Chuji, who changed into luckily munching on some potato chips. Ino was status round, likely looking forward to Sasuke so she could take a seat next to him. Simplest contributors of Team 8, had been inside the room. Shino was sitting quietly subsequent to the window, and Hinata sat near the front. When Naruto looked at her, he saw that she was staring at him. While she got caught, her face turned purple and she or he fast appeared away. The Jinchuriki idea nothing of it, and endured scanning the lecture room. On the back opposite side to Shikamaru and Chuji sat a lonely woman with red hair. Sakura had bangs and he or she stared on the table, as though it became the maximum interesting factor in the international. Wait, why is she overlaying her forehead? And why are not she and Ino speak me? I thought they have been friends at this factor. Naruro scratched his head. Idiot. Kurama stated. Even I keep in mind that Sakura changed into shy before she became buddies with Ino. How, do you keep in mind that? The blonde puzzled his bijou. I spent 17 years speaking to no one in here. There was not anything to do besides revel in faculty drama and sip the tea, the beast answered. Naruto didn't exactly recognize what the fox meant approximately tea, but he disregarded it. Sakura being shy became a new improvement, and he could ought to ask Sasuke what to do approximately heard. Talking of the team, he arrived and poked Naruto on the lower back. Dobe, let's sit down, he said, walking past him. He did a brief experiment of the study room, noticing that Sakura was alive but regarded specific, and decided it made sense for him and Naruto to take a seat at the lower back. He told Naruto, who agreed. Sakura-chan. The blonde cheered, causing the girl to observe him with curious eyes. Mind if we sit down here? Why, sure. I imply, no. You could take a seat there. She mumbled the finishing, heat rising to her cheeks. Sasuke did not recall her like this. There had been a few instances in which she desired to talk to him but ran off. However, that was when she used a ribbon to hold up her hair, displaying off her brow. Now that he idea approximately it become atypical looking at her brow without the strength of 100 seal. It changed into pretty bizarre how this shy, little female have become this type of monster of a female. Stop at staring at her. Naruto whispered with a perverted wiggle of his eyebrows. Sasuke smacked his head in response. Oh! Naruro, forestall making this type of racket! Irika yelled, taking walks into the classroom. I failed to quiet. The teacher shouted one closing time. The blonde shriveled into his seat. This became awful. They traveled via time to the factor in which Irika hated him. Of root, that became because Kurama had killed Irika's mother and father. It took a touch even as for the two of them to establish the brother-like relationship that they had. They had a pop quiz that lesson. Naruto was satisfied he knew most of the answers. That already intended he was imagined to be Hokage, proper. Some of the ladies looked at Sakura with disgust, as she turned into the only sitting near Sasuke. When she noticed anyone obtrusive daggers at her, she shuffled and targeted on her paintings. One of the people who have been making her uncomfortable changed into Ino. Sasuke frowned upon realizing this, thinking if this action would have large consequences on their dating. Whilst the scholars had been given a damage to play out of doors, Naruto and Sasuke sat in the back of a tree to discuss sure matters. So you're announcing that an UMBU member follows you when you are not at the academy? Sasuke asked the dobe, who nodded his head. I just should ask Gigi to stop. Naruto spoke back. Fool. That could be exceptionally suspicious. The Uchiha answered, racking his mind for a solution. Oh brats, Kurama growled, communicating with the two of them. Sasuke frowned at what the fox referred to as him. Permit me communicate to the old fart. I can persuade him to stop. You cannot talk to him, the blonde exclaimed, outraged. We are no longer intended to tell absolutely everyone. He may not. The Sharingan consumer said, taking the beast's aspect. He just has to say that the two of you bonded, we did no longer bond. After which he might not be suspicious. He completed. I bet. Naruto sighed. He nonetheless notioned it become risky, and who turned into to mention that Hiruzen might agree with the Kyuubi? It might surely result in more UMBU guards around him, looking his actions continuously. Now, on to extra pressing worries. Sasuke started, however, become interrupted by a cry. Leave me by myself. It became Sakura, and he or she appeared like she changed into crying. The boys checked out each different with their eyebrows raised before standing up and following her voice. Have a look at your big forehead. A girl, stated, flicking Sakura. The pinkette's face went red and tears had been streaming down her face. A huge toddler with a large forehead. Is forehead unhappy? Every other girl mocked her. She then flicked Sakura simply as her buddy had executed. The future member of Crew 7 became to run away, but any person driven her to the floor. Ino stood above her, palms on her hips. In which are you going, forehead? She smirked on the female at the ground, feeling superior. Good day, depart her alone, Naruto yelled, running at the institution of ladies. Sasuke accompanied him, narrowing his eyes on the scene before him. Sasuke-kun! The girls, except Ino, chorused. The woman blonde had the decency to look ashamed of her actions. The group of ladies ran closer to the Uchiha, asking him out and trying to hang to him. He shrugged all of them off and walked over to Sakura, who became sniffing at the ground. Her hand changed into gripping her elbow in obvious pain. He crouched right down to her level. Sasuke-kun, she's K, stated, disliking the attention the boy had on Sakura. However, my arm surely hurts, the woman lied, inflicting all the other women to comply with her lead. Naruto glared at they all. Are you okay? Sasuke asked Sakura, who checked out him as if he were an alien. Your arm, is it hurting? She puzzled if she should lie here. If she stated yes, Sasuke would think she changed into weak. However, her arm became hurting, so she did not want to lie. I think it is a graze. She rolled up her sleeve and found out her red skin, due to the autumn. Ino watched their interplay in silence. Sasuke grabbed her hand and took her inner, escorting her to the nurse's workplace. Sakura did not appear unsatisfied, she regarded extra bold over than something. Naruto watched the two of them with a smile on his face before taking pictures, a disapproving appearance to the girls who had picked on her. Sasuke puzzled if he had made the right selection. Jealousy might heat up even extra within the girls if he continued interacting with Sakura. However, the remaining time Sasuke had visible her, she had died in his palms. So who may want to blame him for displaying care, his personal model of care, for her? This best meant that they could ought to educate her to combat again. At this point, Sakura became barely a ninja. She would learn how to utilize the academy fundamentals, but her physical prowess might be low. He and Naruto should exchange that. In addition, they needed to train themselves, and get used to the younger versions in their bodies. On pinnacle of that, mastering new strategies could no longer be awful either. The more youthful model of him might annoy his brother till he finally agreed to teach him. Alternatively, Sasuke determined the best teacher for all of them might be Shursui Uchiha. He turned into a skilled fighter and, though he refused to admit it, probably extra professional than his brother. Naruto would glaringly be on board. All they had to do turned into befriend Sakura and then have her train with them. After losing her off on the nurse, he went again outside to discover Naruto smiling gleefully. Shut up, doe, he stated, walking exceeded the boy. I'm no longer announcing anything, team. The blonde spoke back, walking along him. They went lower back to the tree they have been putting around earlier then. What have been you saying? He requested. The Uchiha massacre. Sasuke diminished his voice. To keep away from it, we should kill the elders. Whoa! Naruto exclaimed, causing the opposite to glare at him. The boy also diminished his voice. We can't try this. There has to be every other manner. There is not. Danzo will advocate the idea and they may agree. Then, just kill Danzo. The Jinchuriki felt dirty even saying it. Leave the others. Koharu and Hamura also are a danger. Sasuke answered. I'm inclined to permit the Sandaime live. How nice of you. Naruto paradoxically said. You cannot just move about killing humans. This is to forestall the killing of my extended family with the aid of my own brother. It desires to be finished. The massacre doesn't take place for some other 3 years, right? We can discern out an opportunity until then, Naruto recommended, inflicting Sasuke to sigh and in the long run agree. First class. But you may see, they'll carry greater issues that we are not ready to stand. Naruto was fearful. He didn't recognize what to mention to the 0.33 Hokage. Not only did Sasuke say he turned into to allow Hiruzen recognize of the bond that shaped among him and Kurama, he was to force the Sandaime to inform him who his parents were. He remembered asking in his very own timeline, simplest to get shot down. He by no means understood why it became kept from him. Everybody regarded to know he become a Jinchuriki. What damage changed into going to come back to him if they knew who his father became? Okay, maybe I will be an even bigger target than earlier then, but they could have at the least advised me. I would not have instructed anybody, as typical, all of us not noted Naruto as he walked through the Hokage tower. It wasn't exactly unique remedy, it turned into greater like nobody changed into bothered sufficient to prevent him. However, the blonde appreciated to think that it became. Hesitantly, he knocked on the door and heard a gruff come in. Hiruzen changed into sitting at his table, stacks of paperwork blanketed his face from the Uzumaki's view. Gigi? Naruto asked, status on his tippy feet as if that might allow him see the Hokage. Naruto, what's it? The Sandaime asked, moving the office work so he could see the young boy. I am no longer sincerely the only who wishes to speak to you. He began, no longer knowing how to start. Kurama? Best to look you again, you vintage fart. The beast spoke to the Hokage from inside Naruto. I still take into account how you fought against me 5 years in the past. Mind-blowing for an antique guy. Naruto, Hiruzen exclaimed, standing up just in case he transformed. Wait. He is high quality, the blonde cried, hoping to calm the old man down. He gave the kid an unusual look, glaringly stressed. The children's proper. I'm a fucking pleasure. Kurama persevered. I've been looking this brat for a long time. He's so stupid that it is painful to look at him fight with none strength or recommendation. Howdy! The fool wants to be Hokage and it might be fun to assist him get there. The 0.33 listened to the fox, his expression changing sometimes. None of them will be deciphered by means of Naruto. The seal broke. The blue-eyed boy blurted out. Naruto! Hiruzen shouted, eyes extensive in panic. Do you realize what could have occurred? Loosen up. I do not need to wreck Konoha, the Ninetales stated, yawning as if this became the maximum uninteresting communication he had ever had. Then what do you need, Kyubi? The sensei of the Sannin asked. I want to help the brat emerge as Hokage, and then I need this verbal exchange to be stored among the 3 people. And we want the Umbu member you having following me to forestall, Naruto introduced, inflicting Hiruzen to give him a strange look. It makes me feel like I can't do stuff. He quickly defended himself. Naruto, this is lots to soak up. The third wanted a drink. He by no means really desired to drink in his whole existence, continually dreading while Jiraiya and Tsunade would force him, but he genuinely wanted one proper now. The entirety's exceptional, Gigi, Kurama and that I are friends, consider it. Naruto spoke back. Kurama is the Kyubi's call, via the manor. Is there anything else, Naruto? The antique guy pinched the bridge of his nose. No, the blonde responded, believing that it became too soon to deliver up his parentage. With a clumsy bow, he left the room and determined to visit Ichiraku. If he played his cards proper, he should get a loose bowl of ramen. When Sasuke were given domestic, he became privy to the unusual looks his mom turned into sending him. His father and brother arrived later than him. This was the first time he had visible his father considering, nicely, since he noticed his dead body at the floor. Sasuke, dinner! Mikoto yelled for her son. He had secluded himself in his room, plotting secretly approximately how to save the sector, what everyday 5-year-olds do. However, he shuffled out for his mother's cooking. She was an excellent cook dinner. He overlooked the meals she would make him. He ought to have that now. Nicely performed. Fugaku stated to Itachi simply as Sasuke entered the room. He sat at his facet of the table and waited patiently for his food. Sasuke, what did you do at the academy today? His father requested. The young boy became approximately to offer his father a pressured expression, but he cautioned towards it. No longer a lot, he decided to answer, searching far away from his eyes immediately after. We may also have to talk to the academics. They want to educate you the critical matters. Fugaku turned into cut off by his wife buzzing within the kitchen. Sasuke almost frowned, however caught himself before he did so. This appeared to be some sort of plan between his dad and mom. They have to have observed something bizarre about his behavior. He simply needed them to understand that this become the new regular. He wasn't sociable or satisfied, he went through a trauma and visiting via time wouldn't restore that, even though he got them back. The sight in their dead bodies could in no way go away his thoughts. Nicely, I made a brand new buddy, Sasuke added, hoping to lighten the surroundings. That is first rate, Sasuke, Mikoto replied from where she became standing. She then delivered their plates to the table, and the own family started out to consume. Inform us approximately them. What's their call? His name is Naruto. The youngest notion there was no harming in telling them. He and the dobe could be visible loads collectively, so it seemed natural for the two to be referred to as pals. Itachi seemed his brother with curious eyes. With his unusual behavior inside the morning, now not jumping for joy at their father's attention that was orchestrated by way of their mom and befriending the Kyuubi's host, Sasuke appeared like a completely extraordinary character from how he turned into the day earlier then. That become concerning. Itachi determined he might preserve nearer tabs on his brother. Sasuke checked out his brother in the eyes. He should tell what he turned into wondering. And now he needed to be extra careful. He was hoping his brother would not take it difficult as soon as he asked Shisui to educate him. In the course of the night time, Sasuke snuck out of the Uchiha compound. He wore all black clothes that he had offered for the duration of the day. He concealed his face with a black mask and concealed his arms with black gloves. He had a task to do. Firstly, he went into Koharu Yudatane's house. She became rapid asleep in her room. Activating his Mangekyo Sharingan, he tapped her head and her eyes shot open, most effective to be stuck in a genjutsu at once after. Sasuke did not deliver her time to break it as he plunged a kunai right into her coronary heart. Next, Hamura Midokado. He also lived by myself, so it changed into smooth to infiltrate his residence. He did the same as he did to Koharu, and the second one elder become no more. After that, he went to Peer Danzo Shimura. The chief of Root was the toughest to locate, but Sasuke changed into professional and not to locate it. He slept in his bunker. Like a person who became scared he would be assassinated any minute. Who are you? Danzo asked, ruining the Uchiha's detail of Marvel.no factor in beating across the bush. He activated his Mangekyo Sharingan another time. Amaterasu, black flames surrounded Danzo's body. He began to scream, questioning how he were stuck in such an assault. Sasuke did not stay to look at him die. He left before human beings ought to arrive onto the scene because of the man's screams of demise. He went to a secluded part of the village and burned all of his garments, discarding the kunai he used to kill the alternative elders. Then he went domestic and fell asleep, content with how he had spent his night time. Naruto's going to be pissed. He almost laughed on the concept. Unnecessary to say, Naruto become pissed. He had advised Sasuke to play the ready sport, and the whole lot would flip out high quality. Now the elders were dead and Konoha changed into a multitude. There had been ninja jumping across the whole village, all searching distressed and in a panic. He asked one what had befell, but they advised him not to worry about it. Then, he went to the academy and that they had to do a 3-minute silence for his or her fallen elders. He glared at the Uchiha throughout the complete silence, who failed to appear to care in any respect. Naruto wanted to pull out all of his hair, after which shave off Sasuke's. What the hell took place to toddler steps? They hadn't been again for long, and he had already made this type of big selection. A big, non-mutual choice. Now, with the elders gone, who knows what's going to take place? He concept. Sure, due to the fact they already did so much to assist within the beyond. Kurama spoke back. His host scratched his head. To be sincere, he failed to even realize who the council were in his timeline. He usually assumed they were just there. Maybe the simplest element that would alternate turned into the Uchiha massacre, and Sasuke might have his own family, which supposed that he would not brood and claim to be an avenger each 5 minutes. He becomes still mad at the bastard. They have been imagined to be a group. This wasn't an each man for himself kind of situation. They were looking to store the arena. Kakashi had taught him things apart from the Chidori. The Bell test changed into a giant part of their time as Crew 7. They wished teamwork. Naruto smirked when he realized they must do the Bell take a look at again in some unspecified time in the future. He became going to annoy the hell out of him at some stage in the test. He only had 7 years to devise a dot when Sasuke had woken up. He and Itachi had been both advised through their mom to no longer disturb their father in any respect since something pressing had popped up. They nodded their heads in knowledge, and the eldest walked his brother to school after they had eaten breakfast. Is something bothering you, Ototo? Itachi had asked, not turning his head to examine whom he had addressed. No, Aniki. Why? He spoke back. No motive. After which they stayed silent for the rest of the stroll. As soon as Sasuke were given to magnificence, his teammate wasn't shooting daggers at him, so it seemed that he didn't know approximately the elders. However then, Iruka informed them upon arriving to elegance, and he may want to sense the heat of the blonde's glare. He failed to feel horrific for lying to Naruto. Frankly, he failed to even see it as mendacity considering that he hadn't clearly stated something to his teammate. He just went with the plan he had formed in his head. He didn't tell the reality, but he didn't lie both. The dobe did not recognize. They needed to neutralize the hazard before they could do something worse. The elders were not allowed to plant the seeds of destruction. This became the simplest way to forestall the Uchiha massacre. Sasuke concept that maybe the Jinchuriki might come to this end, however he could still feel his glare. He could simply must live with it. It wasn't as if he could journey via time and trade everything again. I cannot accept as true with you probably did it. Naruto whispered at the same old tree they sat at. They received ordinary seams from humans, however they left out them. It needed to be achieved, the Uchiha honestly answered. Now Shursui can use his Kodoama Tsukumi to prevent the coup d'etat and my clan will no longer be massacred. You spared Gigi? The Jinchuriki asked, wondering approximately his reasons for this. He confirmed remorse while he became reanimated. Naruto desired to assume he spared the Hokage for him, but he would not ask that. What is achieved is executed. We need to act on our next plan. Proper. The dobe sighed. What's that? Schooling. We want to get used to our bodies, and I'm positive you need a reasonable excuse as to how we were given so appropriate at preventing. Yeah, wait. Did you assert I'm desirable at preventing? The blonde asked. A mocking smile graced his features. It's best because you're older. You are nonetheless weak. Hiya. I will wipe the ground with you. It's any other thing. You need to make me appear plenty better than you or humans will begin to have questions. Sasuke proposed the concept. It had been on his mind the day before, and it made logical sense to him. What? It will likely be suspicious if a dead remaining is close to beating me. It is already suspicious that the two folks are visible together. It appeared reasonable, however Naruto wouldn't agree. No way, we try this honest and square, he exclaimed. TCH, quality. I will do plenty better anyway. Carry it on. The academy students observed it atypical how close Sasuke and Naruto had gotten. They sat collectively, spoke to every different, and during their destroy time, they would sit down at the back of a tree that was away from absolutely everyone else. A number of the men spread a hearsay that the two of them were a couple, but that was at once shot down by using Sasuke's fan club. A number of the academics thought it became first-rate that the worst student had befriended the excellent student. Sakura found it peculiar though. She puzzled how the two had grown to be so extraordinary in one of these brief amount of time. Neither of them stated she existed most of the time, however then they sat subsequent to her, and helped her out with bullies the day earlier. Then her curiosity changed into piqued, and, when Sakura Haruno became interested in something, she could do widespread research and attain her goal, absolute confidence approximately it. She changed into handiest 6 years old, but her father usually stated she was cussed. Perhaps that become a great attribute, in this situation. Shinaro, I'll figure out how they changed so extensively, inner Sakura shouted, inflicting outer Sakura to be glad that nobody may want to hear her thoughts. Shursui-san. A voice called out to the ninja. Sasuke ran over to his cousin, pretending to pant, his hands on his knees, as if he had simply ran a marathon. Sasuke-kun? What's it? The prodigy requested with a frown. Itachi's little brother by no means sought him out. Does Itachi-kun want me? No, I want you to train me. The younger Uchiha clenched his fists and smirked. Then I will beat Aniki. You need me to train you? Shursui checked out the boy as if he became crazy. I do not sincerely have a number of time, he said, frowning and searching away. I'm no longer accepting no for an answer. Sasuke stood his floor, even stepping into a stance. You have to educate me, Shursui-sensei. Abruptly, the elder Uchiha seemed at the back of him in a flash. The time traveler grew to become round and lower back flipped away on intuition. What are you doing? He questioned after composing himself. Great reflexes. Shursui smirked and grew to become round to walk away. We'll begin day after today. He introduced, his back to his new scholar. Sasuke smiled. See then you definitely, Shursui-sensei. He, quite favored being known as Shursui-sensei. Saving the arena turned into hard paintings. Naruto had no idea what he was imagined to do. The Uchiha bloodbath could not happen in this timeline due to the fact Sasuke had killed the elders. He nonetheless didn't like how his teammate had gone at the back of his back. What different activities did they need to keep away from? Not anything crazy had came about whilst he became younger. But things took a flip while he had become a genin. The Land of the Waves challenge went excellent, but maybe they may find a way to allow Zabuza and Haku stay. Aside from that, he became extra concerned approximately how complicated the Chunin tests might be. To start with, there was Gaara. Naruto desired to forge a bond with him earlier than the destruction of the leaf. If he could find a way to do that, then Sakura and Sasuke would in no way get harm preventing Shikaku. But Gaara appeared to a long way long gone down his direction to randomly trade with a brand new friendship. He would have to be careful around him. Manifestly, there has been the issue of Orochimaru also. Sasuke might in all likelihood not want the curse mark this time. However, there was the query as to whether or not they need to kill the snake Sannin. He killed the Sandaime, and that became something Naruto desperately desired to keep away from. There was also the difficulty of Kabuto Yakushi. He changed into currently in Konoha, appearing as a spy for Orochimaru. Later within the timeline, he could take in the remnants of his grasp's frame and reanimate many ninja to fight on his aspect within the fourth excellent ninja war. Madara's reanimation became something they needed to keep away from, and the only folks that could use the jutsu were the second Hokage, Orochimaru, and in a while Kabuto. Consequently, the latter was some other goal. Naruto clutched his head. All of this communicate gave him a migraine. They had to take infant steps, and Sasuke simply did not seem to get that. He changed into scared that killing the elders could change a lot. What turned into going to happen? Ka-san. Sasuke known as out once he entered his home, after going to Pier Shursui. Wherein is Iniki and Toussaint? He requested. That they had someplace to be, Sasuke. Mikoto answered, a look of anxiety written across her face. The younger boy knew precisely what become going on, however he continued gambling the function of the clueless little boy. We have been informed in the academy that the elders passed away. His commentary changed into so easy, but he could see his mom stiffen. All three of them. It's absolutely bizarre. He endured. It's terrible. The discern answered, after which attempted to trade the difficulty. What do you need for dinner, darling? Absolutely, how about I make your preferred? Mikoto searched through her kitchen, seeking out the proper substances, as her son went to his room. Sasuke knew why things were so traumatic in the Uchiha family. Danzo turned into a skilled ninja who were burnt to loss of life so effortlessly. The Uchiha extended family turned into known for fire-release ninjutsu. Just like the attack of the Kyuubi, his extended family became being blamed. This would most effective gasoline the thoughts for a coup d'etat. Fortunately, Shursui would not die and he should change their minds. Eventually, Itachi and Fugaku lower back with bizarre expressions on their faces. Sasuke couldn't decipher what they meant, and it indignant him to no stop. He could not study them, he couldn't read each person inside the Uchiha extended family, because he slightly even knew them. What became taking place behind the scenes? He hated being a child, he changed into never instructed anything essential. I have some news. The patriarch introduced at dinner. The command to stop ingesting and pay attention turned into heard. These days I was requested to sit with Sandaime-sama. He expressed his choice to make me fifth Hokage. The household went silent, especially due to the fact Sasuke and Mikoto have been confused. Itachi appeared to be in the recognize and was looking ahead to their reactions. The time visitor did now not assume that his father would be Hokage. The concept simply seemed loopy. Well, he changed into in the jogging for 4th Hokage, but that in the end went to Minato Namikaze. So, Hiruzen believed it turned into now time for Fugaku to take workplace. Wow. The youngest feigned pleasure. It really is brilliant too, San. His father nodded at him. His mom Handias smiled, although he was uncertain of what was going through her head. I demanded for the individuals of our extended family to transport Lower back into the village in the event that they desire to achieve this. We'll ought to pass into Konoha, and I will be stepping down as leader of the Konoha military police force and because the Uchiha extended family head. Who might be taking your area? Mikoto subsequently spoke up along with her query. Yakumi, but best until Itachi grows older. Her husband answered. Sasuke guessed that made experience. Yakumi worked intently with his father. When are you going to formally be Hokage? He asked, seeking to play it off as though he turned into unimaginably excited. He hoped they couldn't see via his top-grade performance, he was scared Itachi might see through him. It'll end up public understanding the next day, and the ceremony may be in a single week, his father answered. Begin packing your things. We're going to begin transferring as quickly as viable. Once they completed dinner, the contributors of the head house went to their very own devices. Sasuke walked into his room, closed the door, picked up a kunai and teared his pillow to shreds. He turned into mad. If he wanted a global and not using a kage, then it didn't make an awful lot sense that his father was the Godame Hokage. This simply made his plan an entire lot more complex. It become typically sunny in Konoha at that point of year. The ball of fireplace in the sky would shine its rays onto the splendidly smelling grass underneath. The buds could blossom into beautiful vegetation and a person would most effective experience the mild summer breeze kissing towards their pores and skin. So, it become abnormal while dark clouds loomed over the village the subsequent morning. The sun was concealed, the rain hit the ground like bullets, and the wind picked up extraordinarily. Shops closed. Human beings hurried to their houses and the streets have become deathly silent. The best sounds have been the rain and the whistling wind. The academy become cancelled due to the tough climate. Naruto concept nothing of it, happy that he got to live home, but Sasuke looked out the window with an extraordinary expression. Shaking his head, he shook a certain thought out of his mind.